Hey, good morning everybody. Ed Froelich with Ocean Deep Fishing. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY. We are at our 100-hour service that we have to do on our motor. So we are going to be doing that today. I'm going to be showing you how to do it, what tools you need, what products you need in order to do that, so that you can do it yourself to save some money rather than bring it to the dealership. And as long as you document everything and use the proper products, I have a Yamaha motor, so I only use Yamaha products, with one exception today, and I'll tell you about that. So I went and I looked around just to see what the service costs from marine dealers. I went to the marine dealer where I bought my boat from, which this August will be actually 2 years since I bought my boat, and I only have it's the 100-hour service, but I do have like 127 hours on the motor. So it's not a big deal. It's a little bit more than the required hours you need on the motor, but it's pretty much hard driving, meaning, you know, driving out to my fishing spot and driving back. So anyway, we're going to take care of that today. From the marina that I bought the boat from, their cost was just $800 and something, almost $900 to do the 100-hour service. And I've gotten prices closer to home up to $1,200, and that's for a single motor. So you guys that have triples, quads, like, man, it's a lot. It's a big expense. So anyway, I'm going to show you how to do it so that you can save some money yourself if you feel comfortable in doing it. If not, there's always the backup to take it to your service dealer where you purchase your boat, or somewhere that's a certified Yamaha, Mercury, Evinrude, Suzuki, whatever your motor is. Just make sure you take it to a certified dealer if you're going to have it done outside of doing it yourself. Okay, so let me take you over. I'm going to show you a few tools and products that we need in order to do the 100-hour service, and then as we go through the process, I'll probably go into a little bit more detail. This video might be split up into 2 parts depending on how long it is, because I want to take my time. I want to explain everything to you so you at home can do it yourself and feel confident that you know what you're doing. So this might be a longer video, so I might split it up in 2 videos, part 1 and part 2, but we'll just see how long the end result is time-wise, because definitely don't want you guys to get bored. So anyway, let's move on to what we need in order to do this 100-hour service. Pretty.
Oh, are you serious?
That's what we came for, Pompano. Oh yeah, that's a nice one there. Look at that size of that fish there. Woo! Tell me not to take him out of the water. There we go. A little peanut. Look at that one, baby! That's gotta be 20 pounds.
Oh man, it's a
Woo!
Oh man.
All right. Woo! King mackerel. Yeah, there's a nice king mackerel, buddy. Okay guys, let's start off with the oil. You're going to need a gallon plus a small quart to top it off, because we're going to change the oil filter in 1 quart. 1 gallon is not going to be enough. Now, look in your owner's manual. This stuff I'm showing you pretty much represents any of the motors from like 115 to 300 horsepower, but you're going to have different oil levels. You're going to have different spark plug gaps and stuff as you go along, so just double check with your in your manual what it is. So we have engine oil, and you can see I'm using the Yamaha Lube because I have a Yamaha engine, so I suggest you stick with whatever engine you have, that you use their products. We have a water pump repair kit, genuine Yamaha water pump repair kit, and that has the impeller and everything else you need to do that, which when we do that service I'll show you. You're going to need 4 spark plugs. We're going to do an oil filter change, and we're also going to do This is a water fuel separator. Now you see I have Quicksilver. I've tried several places to get the Yamaha water fuel separator and everybody is on back order. So I'm using this Quicksilver. It was recommended by my Yamaha dealer. It's better than nothing. Change it out now. And then I'm still looking and trying to purchase the Yamaha fuel water separator. When I do get that in, I'll change it out to the Yamaha. But meanwhile, I do want something new. It's 2 years old and I want to just protect it the best I can. So that's what I'm doing. That's the reason why. That's the only product that I'm using in the motor that's not Yamaha. Then this is when you change the oil. That's going to be your oil ring. Change it every time you change your oil. During this process of doing the 100-hour service, I'm not going to show you the changing the oil. Just one, I have a full video of how to change the oil when I did my 20-hour service, and I'll link it up here somewhere. And also I'll put it in the description so you can go back and watch that. It gives a full detail from start to finish how to change your oil. So I'll have the link in there, so you probably want to go, when you're ready to change the oil, go back to that link, watch that video. It's great detail, informational, and you should have no problem changing your oil if you've never done it before. But that is the washer that you want to purchase, and it's a Yamaha genuine part. And that's the oil plug where you can take it out. It has a washer behind it. Take the old washer off, throw it out, replace it with this new one. We're going to do a Yamaha fuel filter that's inside the motor. Yamaha, there's the specs and the part number there. And on the cartridge, which I'll show you when we do it, the cartridge that this fuel filter is in has a top seal. That's the seal to replace the seal that we have. Here's our gear. Here is our gear case lube, Yamaha Lube. We're going to use that because we're going to change the lower unit oil, gear case oil, and I'll show you how to do that. There's an anti-seize lubricant which you're going to put on all your nuts and bolts before you put them back so that you can release them. You're going to need a good size oil catching. This holds up to 16 quart. I bought this one because I have a diesel engine and it holds 13 quart, so you don't need one this big, but that's why I'm using this one. I also have a smaller one that you can use. Okay, now this is some of the tools, not all the tools we're going to use. Need a spark plug wrench. That's a 5/8 spark plug wrench. You're going to definitely need an extension. You're going to need a small wrench like that, and it's to fit onto the screwdriver because we're going to use this to break our bolts to do the gear case oil change. You're going to need a pump hose that's going to go on your quart in order to pump your gear case lube into your lower unit. You're probably going to need a little wire brush to clean off the bolts before you put the new anti-seize. You're going to need a spark plug gap setter. Now this is an old one I've had for years. They make several different brands and kinds, but you're going to have to make sure that your gap is set for your spark plugs. You're going to need a hammer. You're also going to need a rubber mallet, which I couldn't find right the minute, but we're going to need that to take off the lower unit when we change the impeller. So anyway, stick around. We're going to start and show you how to go through this process. I've got my oil changed. It's all cleaned up. Like I said, you can go and back to my playlist and look at the oil change that I have already pre-made. So now we're going to change the lower gear oil. There's two screws. There's one here and there's one underneath here, right there. And we're going to drain that, and then I'll show you how to fill it up. And in order to break this loose, I'm going to have to raise the motor up a little bit. So as you can see underneath here, there's the screw that you have to take off, and you want to be careful not to strip that, because once you strip it, it's really hard to get it out. And then here is that's your top screw. You're going to take that out last once you get your bottom out. Okay guys, so to get this, just going to take a nice wide thick screwdriver. As you can see that, we're going to put that right up in here. We're going to use our wrench to help turn it, and we're going to just break it loose for right now. So you're going to push in and tilt it. Okay, you heard that click? It broke loose. So you want to make sure you got your catch oil pan underneath there to catch that. And we're going to take that out. Now it might drip a little bit, but it's not going to leak out. Now on the end of this screw is a magnet, so you want to kind of just check and see what kind of shavings you have. And really it's not too bad. You have a few shavings, which is just normal, and this is just from the wear and tear of the motor. Now you see too, there's this ring. If I can get it out. Sometimes you got to work it a different way, so I'm just going to unscrew it out. There we go. So this washer you want to replace every time you change it, and I have replacements right here. This is the company I got offline, replacementkits.com, and this is for the lower gear unit, but always change it. Don't use the same one. Just make sure you don't lose your screw. Put that aside. Alright, we're going to lower so it drains good. Make sure you keep your drip pan right there. Okay, now the same as you did on the bottom one, you get your screwdriver, put your screwdriver in there, use your wrench, and you're going to pop it. And as soon as you pop it and air comes out, you're going to see the oil start ripping. That's your gear case oil. There it goes. And you want to check the color. It looks nice and clear. There again, they have a ring on this one too. Throw that out. You're going to put 2 new rings on. And you can see the screws, they're different. They're different screws, so don't get them confused. That one's the top one, this one's the bottom. So we're going to let that drain out. While you're checking this oil, you want to make sure the consistency is nice. It's not milky white. If it's really dark brown, black, it means it's time to change it. Alright, we're going to let that drip a minute. Meanwhile, I'm going to go in here. Now this package comes, I think you can do 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you can do 5 changes. So there's the 2 new ones. There again, guys, don't reuse those washers. You can fail. Just clean off the screw the best you can. Get all any little bits and pieces off. Put your new washer on. Okay, that's your bottom. Then we're going to put the washer on the top one. So they're both got brand new washers on now. So our next step is the lube, Yamaha lube. We're going to open that cord up. So here's our pump, and you can get that. I got this on Amazon. I think it was 10 bucks, 12 bucks, something like that. I don't remember. It's a while ago. Comes with 3 different fittings that come on the end. So basically you just need to find the correct fitting that fits your motor. There's 3 different sizes the kit comes with. This is the one that fits the Yamaha. So what you want to do, you're going to put it in to the quart, and we're going to just pump it in. Now this valve goes on the very bottom. You're going to put it in the bottom. Okay, you just want to make sure the right thread pattern. Be careful not to cross thread. A hole right here, that's your overflow hole. What you're doing, you're going to pump this, and you can see once you start pumping, you can see the oil going, and it's going to go in there. And you pump this whole cord in until you see the oil start coming out of there. That means it's full, because you're pumping from the bottom up.
Okay guys, you can see the oil. I kind of like to pump some out to try to get the where it's flowing. See the bubbles coming out? All right, and I ended up having to use a second one that I had left over from the last time I did my thing, because one wasn't just quite enough to get it. So once you see the oil coming out of the top, that's when you put your top bolt in with your new washer on it. Always remember the new washers. Make sure it goes in easy so you don't cross thread. And then to tighten it up, take your wrench again. Just make sure you don't strip it. All right, there we go. Okay, now the bottom, I usually try to give it a pump or two just to make sure it's full. Now I've got the new washer on the bottom screw, so when you undo the bottom here, a little bit's going to come out, but with the top screw in here, it's only going to drip a little bit. That's why I gave it an extra pump or two to compensate for whatever's going to leak out. So you want to undo that. You want to get your nut ready to put in. That's all from the extra pressure that I put in for the extra 3 pumps. It was full and it went out. Okay, we'll raise the motor a little bit. We're going to get our screwdriver in there and we're going to tighten this up. Okay, and we are all done. When you're buying your gear case oil, get a second one. This is my second time using the extra, and I probably still have half the quart or a little more. So this is good probably for 2 more times before I have to get a second one. So you're going to use 1 full quart and a little bit. They only sell you a quart when you go to the marina. They say that's enough, but it's not enough. It doesn't come, for my motor anyway, it doesn't come out the top with just 1 quart, so I have to add just a little bit. Okay, that's taking care of the lower unit lube. Okay guys, next is the fuel filter, inline fuel filter. It has a blue connection right here. We need to disconnect that because that goes to the bottom. It's a sensor for the bottom of the fuel filter, and if you're unscrewing that and that's still attached, it's going to twist your wire. So we're basically going to disconnect this, untwist it, and then I'll show you once we get it off what's inside. You just press in on there and it disconnects like that. Just what you can't put it in wrong, but just kind of keep an eye on what it is. We're going to feed that through here. And you just want to be careful you don't twist it off, because that will cost you some money. I think it's like 80 bucks or 100 bucks for that little plastic thing if you break that wire. All right, let me get something to take that off with. Okay guys, I just got a pair of pliers here, channel locks. I'm going to put a rag in there like that so I don't mar the filter, and you're just going to hold this up here from twisting and you're going to loosen it up. There you go. And there's a little bit of gas that's going to flow out. Okay. So that's what it looks like. Your filter's in here. We got a new filter. I'm looking. The gas looks pretty clean in there. So here's your old filter. I'm gonna pour this fuel into the fuel tank. It smells good. It doesn't smell varnishy at all. So I'm going to show you how to get that ring out and replace it. So I want to put this in the fuel tank. Okay guys, here is the ring. We're just going to try to grab that out of there. There we go. Okay. I mean, the ring looks good. It's still flexible, but I bought a new one, so I'm just going to go ahead and change it. I try to put as much new stuff on as I can when I'm redoing these. Just make sure it seats good in there. And then the Yamaha filter, fuel filter. Now you can see the bottom part doesn't have a top, and the top is rubber. You want to make sure that that's up on the top, and you can see the difference side by side. One is nice and green, the other one's pretty dirty. Alright, so we're going to put that back in there. Now if you want, you can fill this with fuel, which I think I'm going to do before I put it back on. It just gives it a little easier. And then I'll pump the ball too, or you can just pump the ball as well. We'll just do that. We'll just pump the ball here. I'm going to get it in there. Okay, just want to make sure you don't, make sure your threads aren't crossed when you're putting this on. It should go nice and easy. There's a little blue dot, faces back that way, so you know that's where your wire's going to go to. That's where it was. There, we're going to just tighten it up. Use your rag again. So just make sure your wires aren't twisted. You're still in good shape, and then you're going to click this back. You just push it until you hear it click. Alright, and that's your fuel change, and then you can pump the ball. Okay, so we have fuel back in there, and that's it for the fuel filter. Here's your fuel filter, your oil filter. I didn't change it when I changed the oil because I wanted to show you, because on changing the oil last time it wasn't required to change the oil filter, so I didn't change it. So I'm just letting you guys know. So I have an oil wrench. We're just gonna take that off. Okay guys, this oil filter's been sitting for a little while, so it shouldn't have much oil in it, but just take a rag and or I have just some paper towels, and I'm going to put it under there to catch anything that might go up in there. I end up having to use this on here to loosen it up, because I just couldn't get it with the other one. And when you put it back on, you don't have to tighten it so much. Yeah, so everything is good. It looks nice and clean, but we're replacing it with identical product here. So like I said, I try to keep everything good. And before you put it on, make sure you take the plastic off. There's a plastic coating on here that opens it up. And then you want to take some oil and put some oil on there. Just take some motor oil. It can be used or new. I like to use new oil. Just make sure that seat's got a good amount of oil on it, and then just clean the bottom here where you're going to attach to, and then put this on. And again, go easy. Make sure you're not it should spin just like that. It shouldn't go on tight until you get down to the bottom. That way you know you're not cross threaded, and just hand tighten it. If you want to, you can give it a little quarter turn. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, that's it. So before I go and change this oil next time, I'm gonna they have a little cup that fits right over here that lines up with all these notches. This here has just got a single band, so it didn't work so good. Works good on my car. Anyway, that's your oil. Then before you put everything back together, you want to make sure you run your motor, make sure there's no oil leaks. Alright guys, so the next thing we're going to do is the spark plugs. Spark plugs are behind this panel here. So we're going to take this panel off, which is pretty easy. Just has clips on there that kind of bolt on, so it's just nothing to unbolt. It just pops off. Set that aside. So we have 4 bolts we have to take off, and we'll let those set aside, and the spark plugs are behind there. So let me get set up and we'll start taking these off. Okay guys, got a wrench with a 10mm socket on. We're going to take these off. Guys, as soon as they're out, and you can take these covers off, come off that goes just down to your spark plug. Okay, and your spark plug they're way down there. Okay, so you're going to use an extension spark plug wrench 5/8. Now we're going to reach down in there and pull the spark plugs. Start with the top one. Just loosen them all up first, and then you can go in your manual if you have a torque wrench. My torque wrench didn't come in yet, so I'm just gonna hand tighten it and then do a quarter turn, which should be close to what it's supposed to be. But I think they torque it 25 pounds, if I remember correctly. But it's in your manual. Okay, then you can just disconnect that. And just undo them. Okay, what I like to do is look at them individually, and then so you can tell they're worn, but they're not bad. Mostly what I'm looking for with these is that they're consistent, that they're all the same tone, black, brown, whatever. You don't want one that's really caked up or one that's like really dark black and the rest are like this. That indicates that you got something going on with that cylinder. So anyway, we're going to take them out one by one and take a look at them. Hopefully they're all pretty much in the same realm, which means your engine is pretty consistent on all, firing on all the cylinders the same. Yeah, that one's pretty much the same. They look consistent so far. Yeah, so far I like them. Everything's looking good. Okay, you can take a look. All four of those. They all look pretty good. This is from the bottom up to the top. They all look good. Alright, so I'm going to go grab our new ones and I'll show you how to gap them. Okay guys, this is a gap tool. Now there's, like I said earlier, there's different ones. Some come like a Swiss Army knife where you can, they have you know, 12 or 15 blades that you open up in the gap. But you want to check your pamphlet on whatever motor you have and see what the gap is. I'm not sure if they tell you on here, but anyway, it's 0.40 gap for my engine that we have. So the way it works is you look right in here, there's numbers for each of the gaps. So this one right here is 0.40. So what you want to do is take your spark plug and the gap, and you want to go in there. See, that comes, it goes in there with just a little bit of force. So that's what you want. You don't want it to go in there too easy, and you don't want it to like where you really have to push hard. So that's pretty close, and I'm going to check all four. You can see that goes pretty good. All right, and the last one. Yeah. Okay, so if you get to one where it's sloppy, where it's too wiggly, so you can take and just tap this a little bit very lightly. Don't go too hard because it moves fast. And then you can re-gap it. If it's too tight, you can take a little screwdriver and just push it up until a gap fits to whatever gap you need. All right. So we're going to start on the top, and we're going to start putting these back in. And these are, by the way, these are original parts from the Yamaha dealer that they use. It's the NGKR series spark plug. That's what came out of them. That's what I put back in them. All right, so you want to go down and you want to, you just want to hand tighten them. Make sure it goes in nice and easy till it bottoms out. Do our last spark plug. Okay. All right, so I'm not over tightening them. Like I said, I don't have a torque wrench. I ordered one, but it didn't come in yet. Okay. Now, just make sure you put these back in the same order that they came in. So you want to push them in, line them up with the hole, and you want to kind of make sure that you hear a little click. That means that this part is over the spark plug. Okay. And take your screws. Now normally this this from the factory doesn't have anti-seize properties on it, and I'm not going to put one on there because it usually doesn't corrode because it's not susceptible to so much to the saltwater environment. I'm just going to put these in right now with my hand tight. All right, and then we're just going to snug these up. One thing I just wanted to let you guys know, there's an anoid, two anoids behind here that are sacrificial for the engine. There's one on the side. These don't have to get changed until 500 hours, but just if you guys are going to do it, I wanted to show you where you have to take this. You have to take all these off, and you have to undo all these bolts around here in the wiring harness and get this back plate off, and they're behind there. There's one here and one here, and then there's one here on the side. Just for reference, like I said, they don't recommend that until 500 hours. So you just click this back in place, make sure you're on your knobs. Okay, and that's it. It's wobbly. So if yours is like that, that's fine. That's normal. It doesn't hold tight. Just kind of holds it in place. So that's it for the inside of the engine. We replaced the spark plugs, we replaced the fuel filter, we replaced the oil filter, we changed the oil, changed the bottom lower gear oil. So we're pretty well good on this. I'm going to start the engine later, so I'm going to leave the cover off for now because I want to check to make sure there's no leaks and stuff. So the next thing to do is we're going to pull off the lower unit.